mean, you got to work with Chris Sabat, you know.
I did.
How was that?
Oh man, he's.
Yeah, we were supposed to let her know she closed the door and
I'm
stuff.
sorry. I figured it was just us. It got very intimate very fast.
I'm glad I hit record.
Yeah, it got very intimate.
I thought we were just talking. Okay.
But yeah, Sabat is hilarious. Oh my gosh, he's such a hoot. But he's a really great director. He's able to get some really great takes from people. He's able to get you there. And I really enjoy working with him. I haven't gotten to for a long time. Every time I've gone to Okratron, he's been elsewhere, but I actually got to go and work at his house once because he's got a really great setup at his house as well.
Okay.
But it wasn't for Dragon Ball, it was for a different project. But yeah, he's a fantastic director, fantastic, and a fantastic actor, obviously, we all know that.
No. So tell us a little bit about your journey. I guess what got you into the business?
Yeah, originally I had no plans whatsoever of going into voice acting. I was a stage baby all the way. I was gonna go to New York, I was gonna do Broadway, and I got an acting coach to help me with the audition process for musical theater programs in college. And one day she was telling me about some of the work that she did in our local area because we live in the same general area. And she mentioned Funimation. And I, having watched some anime myself, recognized the name, and I was like, what do you mean it's local? What are you talking about? Because I just had in my head that all entertainment stuff was New York or California. And there was nothing else in between. It was just, you go here or here, and that's what you want to do if you want to be in the entertainment business. And she was like, oh no, yeah, it's here. It's located in Dallas. And I was like, like my whole world just like exploded. I was like, that's insane.
An animated character right then and there.
And so she was like, you know what? I think that could actually be a really good fit for you. You have a really great range. You have a lot of energy to you. You have a great projection. You've got a lot of good training. I think you should give it a go. And I was like, yeah, okay. But she really encouraged me, and she was like, go and try and do their open calls, if for nothing else, for audition experience, because I didn't have any kind of experience in front of a mic.
Okay.
And so, like I said, all my experience had been on stage, and being in front of a mic is a whole different kind of beast. And so I went, and I was just anticipating it being strictly that, for audition experience. And I was like, okay, that's fine. But I went and I auditioned for Joel McDonald, who is no longer working for what used to be Funimation, what is now Crunchyroll. He's working for Gearbox, which does the Borderlands series. Yeah, really cool. And what open calls are basically 1 week where one director has people come in like 15-minute intervals. And you go in, and they have male and female booklets of characters that have already been done.
Okay.
And you choose 5, and you try and show a range of what you can do. And you show what you would have done with the character. So I went in, and I chose my 5, and I auditioned for Joel. And a week after that, I got called in to audition for him for his show, Day Day Live. And I ended up booking Kotori, which is a main character for that show. And a week after that, I got called in for Tyler Walker to audition for Fairy Tale, and I booked Melody. And so I just kept on booking pretty consistently, and I was like, oh, well, I guess the universe had a different plan for me. And so I kind of shifted my whole focus and was like, because I had at that point been accepted to go to my dream school, which was OCU.
Okay.
And I had been accepted into thank you so much, you're such a doll. I had been accepted into their musical theater program.
Okay.
And they only accept, what is it? 6 boys and 6 girls every year, and that's it. And I'd been accepted, and I was so excited to go. Like, that was my dream, to go there. And then I went and I talked to the head of the program, and I was like, okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to school during the week, and then on the weekend I'm gonna drive back to Texas, and I'm gonna work the weekend, and then I'm gonna drive back on Sunday, and I'm gonna come back to school. And he was like, no. He was like, I can't let you do that. If you're in this program, you're gonna be in plays, you're gonna have a lot of stuff going on extracurricular wise, and it's just not safe. And he was like, you know what? You are doing what we are training our kids to do. Go somewhere local and continue to work with this studio. And I was like, okay. And so that's what I did. And I went to a local college and I got my associate's degree, and I continued to work with Funimation all through school. And I don't regret it at all. I wouldn't be where I am right now if I didn't do that. So yeah, I've been working ever since I was 17. It's been over 10 years now.
Hey, congrats. Now I gotta ask, do you remember the 5 characters that you chose?
Oh man, I don't remember which 5 there were, but I remember one thing that he had me do that like shook me. I did my 5, and then he had me read for Black Star from Soul Eater, and I was like, that's a boy, you know? And he was like, yeah, I know, but it was voiced by a girl. And I was like, it was? You know, because I had no idea at the time that for voiceover, most boys in that voice range are voiced by girls, because when it's a long-going series like that, they don't want the voice of the boy to change, and then it's like, oh no, we have to recast. And so it's usually voiced by a girl. And I was like, okay, I'll give it a go. And so I did. And apparently he thought it was pretty good. I asked him later, I was like, did I royally screw that up? And he was like, no, it was pretty spot on. And I was like, yes.
So now, the one thing that I know about voice actors and that I've seen is that like a lot of the times you'll either test or try out a character or whatever the case may be, but then that voice ends up being better fit for another project. So was there ever a voice that you did that you thought was fit for one project, but it ended up being a main on a different project?
Let me think. Yeah.
So to give you a little bit of background, I am a working voice narrator as well at Watch Mojo. So I'm going into more character work, and so I've been studying you guys a lot.
I don't think I ever am like, I'm gonna use this voice. Like I don't have like voice A, voice B, voice C. I really just like look at the character and I'm like, this is what you sound like. Like I read the description and I'm like, okay, I think that this is kind of the character type that this would be. I'm not ever like, I'm gonna use voice B for this character type. It's not like that for me. So I don't think I'm ever like, oh man, I should have used voice C for this instead. It's never been like that for me. It's more of a naturalistic feel for it when I see them, and I'm just like, okay, I feel like this is what you sound like. I have that, like, it's already placing it in my throat. Like this is what's gonna come out when I start saying your lines that are like right there. When I see the character slide, it's the picture of the character, description, and then the lines. And I look at it and then I'm like, okay, let me read it. And it's just, that's how it comes out. And then I'm like, all right, that's the voice.
Okay, so, with your transition from stage into voice acting, that was a big leap difference from what you was already trained into. At what point did you feel like, okay, I am now comfortable at doing this. This is what I'm at.
Oh man, it was so bad when I first started. I would do, because what we do is we hit maybe like 3 to 5 cues when you're first starting at a time. Now I'll do like 9 cues at a time or something like that. But when you're first starting, it's 3 to 5. and I would do my like 3 to 5 lines, and then I'd just like whip my head around to the director looking for approval. Like, was that good? Like, he got such a kick out of it. But in the beginning, I would very much over-enunciate because I'm used to people in the very back of the room having to understand me. And so it would sound like this. And it was very diction-y and very, very tacky, and it was a little too much. And because the mic picks up everything, it was just very robotic almost.
I was gonna say, you said you'll be great for the AI.
But like it didn't sound quite right. And I also was working on like, okay, how much projection do I need to use? And so because I thought the mic is right here and I'm looking at it, I was like, okay, I don't need to use any projection at all. So all of my characters sounded like this. And so everything sounded very diction-y and sounded very breathy. And so that's what everything started out as. It was very like this, and it sounded robotic and it sounded breathy. And like it worked for Coterie when it started out, but then she turned into a girl boss, and I was like, okay, I need to get out of that real fast. Which he helped me very much to do. But to this day, I can't go back and I can't watch the first season of Day Day Live because all I can hear is, oh my God, why did I do that? Why do I sound like that? And all I can hear is like the progress that I've made over the years, and all I hear is how much I want to change what I did. So it's hard. It's very hard, but yeah, it's definitely a skill that you adapt to. But it's also great because I had that training. I had that classical training, and I was able to adapt, and I didn't like start out with no training and, you know, go into a show like, for example, Attack on Titan and then completely blow my voice or something. I knew how to project properly. And so, you know, that was very helpful in that regard.
So working on a behemoth of a show like Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
And how it had us like just captivated every weekend and everything like that. These final seasons and the way that it played out. Okay, as I know you guys get your slides. Was you reading the manga? Did you know how it was going to end, or was you experiencing with us while you were also recording?
No, Mike read the manga, who is the director, Mike McFarland. He read the manga. But for majority of us, I want to say, we were experiencing it real time. Like I know Trina Nishimura experienced it real time. I experienced it real time. Elizabeth Maxwell experienced it real time. And I feel like that's just a choice that we make because we want to have very raw reactions, and we want to be able to draw on that rawness for our reads.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, because you can't fake that kind of shock, you know? And so when you're in that and you're like, okay, let's do it, you're just still like, okay, beep, beep, beep. Aaron, you know, like it's just like it's you can't fake that. You're still like, oh my God, and then you're able to draw on that so naturally, and it's great.
So personally, are you Jaegers? Where you stand?
It's okay.
You're right or wrong.
It's so hard. What I say is, at the end of it, I can't forgive him, but I understand him. It's like with psychopaths.
Yeah.
Like you look at their history and you're like, say they have a history of abuse or something like that, and you're like, okay, that helps me to understand why you did what you did. Like say they went on a killing spree or something like Aaron did.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, that helps me to understand why you did what you did, but it does not excuse why you did what you did. And I feel like that's kind of where I land with Aaron.
Yeah,
that's the smart way.
Yeah.
I got a few more questions, but I will give you this bit. I was riding with Aaron the whole time because my whole thing was when I first started watching Attack on Titan, that first scene of his mom getting ate and him running away and the blood splatter on. I said, whatever he does, I'm with him because he experienced that, right?
But now you know that he's the reason that
he dropped at the last minute of the show, and I said, what? My whole world is shaking right now. I don't know how to feel here. It threw me for a loop. Amazing show. All right, so I like to ask this one question because you have voiced so many iconic characters, been a part of so many iconic shows and everything like that. If you was to do a buddy cop movie with two characters that you voiced, what two characters would you choose?
Buddy cop movie with two characters. Kobani from Chainsaw Man.
Oh, okay.
And because she if needed, she could carry the team. She really could. We saw her fight the Katana Man. She was like, if worst comes to worst, she got our back.
Right.
Okay. Like, she'd hate the job. She would hate the job, but
she'll let you know.
Oh yeah, but she could carry the team. Yeah. Lord knows. And then Hikari from Interviews with Monster Girls, because I feel like we would never be bored and she would keep the team together. Like and also because Demi powers, those are awesome. So, and like being able to like see in the dark without like night vision goggles and stuff like that, and like I feel like that would be sick. Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm just thinking like different skill sets. I feel like those would be really good.
It would. So I'll also always like to get your first experience with somebody who cosplayed a character of yours. Mm-hmm. Like, how was that interaction for you?
Oh my gosh, I absolutely love it. It's like, and I love doing this. Like, anytime I see someone cosplaying, like in the hallways when I pass them, I'm like, oh my gosh, I love your cosplay. Can I take a picture of you? And they're like, yeah, sure. And like, they have no idea who I am. And I'm like, thank you so much. And I'll like post it on Twitter and they're like, that was you. And I'm like, that was me.
I love that so much. That's so great. So which character do you see the most?
Nowadays I see a lot of the Family Burger Kobanis, like with the apron and stuff like that. I see a lot of Hiyori's, which is from Noragami. And I see a lot of Attack on Titan. I don't see a lot of Krista specifically, but I see so much Attack on Titan. I don't see necessarily with the not EDM, oh my god. With the EDM rave gear.
Why hasn't nobody made that joke yet? Why we haven't seen the
with the EDM gear.
With the EDM gear.
Not necessarily with like the swords and everything, but like just like with the general scout uniform and everything. I'll see a lot of that. But yeah, those are, I would say, the top 3 that I see.
Nice. Okay, now what about figures and pops and stuff? The first time that you saw your character in a store.
I've been so excited because this con is the first con that I have seen the Mimosa Pops at.
Oh, really?
Yes, it's the first con that I've seen them at, and they have come through and they are so beautiful. They're absolutely stunning.
I'd go broke if I was a voice actor. Every time I'd see my stuff, I'd be like, okay, I gotta have that. Like,
it's so cool.
I would never have a one.
It's so bad. Like, I am a girl who has, I think, 8 Shirahoshi figures and 5 Yotsuba figures. It's so bad. And like, I still continue to look for more at cons, and I'm like, I don't need it. I don't need it. I'm literally that SpongeBob meme. Yeah. It's terrible. Like, I keep telling myself, like, no, don't do it. Stay strong. Like, don't blow the money that you just made. Like,
it's tough. It's so tough. I can only imagine it's worse when you can find characters that you voiced, that you worked on.
Mm-hmm. The one thing that makes me so sad, though, is like, for Chainsaw Man, you always see the main squad. You see like Aki, you see Power, you see Denji, you see Makima, but you never see Kobani stuff. And I'm like,
I feel like it's coming.
Why?
Like, you know, they usually do like their first rounds, and then they do like their, you know, maybe like the alt version of their first round. But then when they get into D Cup, and Chainsaw Man is such a big anime right now. Like it's growing. It's like, you know, if you remember when Demon Slayer first started, and Jujutsu Kaisen first started, Chainsaw Man is in that realm of when it first started, where it's like, we want more, we can't wait to see more, let's keep on going, So trust me, your day is coming.
All right, and hopefully we'll get a season 2 sometime soon.
Oh,
hopefully. So. I mean, it's too popular not to. Yeah. I mean, I'd be shocked if they were like, nope, we're not making any more. Everyone would be like,
we're right.
What?
You brought up Noragami. I need more of that.
Right? And especially with the manga finally being like at a close, I'm like, okay, you've got all your source material. It's time to bring it back.
So prior to you starting working with Funimation, I mean, you said you were familiar with the company, and obviously. So was there any property that you was a fan of that you finally got a chance to also work with?
I didn't get to do a huge thing for it, but I got to do a little bit part for Fruits Basket.
Oh my god!
And I was like, oh my god! I was a girl that had a crush on Yuki, and I was just like, I can die happy. This is because that was one of the ones that I like was obsessed with. I would just watch on repeat. I had like scenes memorized. I was just absolutely obsessed. And so like getting to just be a small little part in it, like I think I was just like girl like 8B or something like that. But like that was enough. I was just like, yep, I'm good. I can call that a wrap on my legacy. I'm done.
Now, I've been meaning to ask a lot of voice actors too. I want to ask you. So you said, you know, you had a crush on the character. Do you, when people tell you that they crush on your characters, how do you feel about that?
I think it's cute. I think it's adorable. But the only time it gets weird is when they don't draw the line between you and your character. When they're like, no, you're my waifu. And I'm like, whoa. It happens a lot, especially with Krista. And I think it's just because of the locks. And I'm like... Oh, yeah. Well, I guess I don't have the bangs and stuff like that. But, yeah, it happens a lot with Krista. And I'm like, oh, thank you so much. But it's a rare occurrence where they don't draw the distinction. And it's usually, oh, Historia is my waifu, and I'm like, oh, thank you so much, because you know in the show it's everybody's all like, one day my wife, and I'm like, oh, thank you so much, so funny, I know, we love her, you know. But when it's like you are Historia and you are my waifu, then it's a little like, oh, thank you so much.
So with the emergence of the live actions getting way bigger budgets and way better and everything, which one of your properties that you will love to not only see a live action, but you also love to like lend a hand, whether it's direction, whether it's actually being in front of the camera? But
okay, I was just thinking this because they're doing the One Piece thing. I would literally die if I could come in as Shirahoshi. Oh my god, if I could come in as my weepy princess girl, and be like a live action mermaid. I would die happy. Right? This is my casting audition for Weepy Hoshi. Like, right?
That would be great. That would be amazing. Well, like I said, do you have any additional questions? I think I'm done on mine.
No, I'm here for filming mainly. You answered anything that I probably would have asked.
Oh, then fine. Let's get some personalization. Can I get you to say your name and give a shout out to Geekset?
Geekset?
Yep, that's us.
All right, this is Bryn Aprill, the voice of Historia Rice, and you're watching Geekset.
Oh, perfect. Thank you
so much. I appreciate you so much.
Yeah.
So I got a question. So how and this is more personal. Because like I said, I told you, you know, I do narration on Watch Mojo and everything, and I've been trying my hand at voice acting. And
oh, sweet, yeah,
and
yeah.
everything. And so I do got an agent now. I've been auditioning. I have not been successful. So, you know, but I'm just saying, any advice, I guess, you know, for somebody in Milwaukee. So I try to, your similar situation, most stuff happens in Chicago. So I do travel a lot back and forth to Chicago. But I don't know. I just feel like when I'm getting these reads and I'm reading, you know, the slides and everything, I generally try to do like a rule of 3. I try to do like, I read it exactly how they have it, and then I try to get a little bit more comfortable and throw in how my take on it and everything. And I'm just wondering, maybe I'm missing the mark here or anything. I guess for auditioning, what type of advice you have for auditioning?
I generally only do 2 takes.
Okay.
3 is a little bit too much for me.
Okay.
And I think that stands for most directors too. And in most auditions that I get, it says, please only send 2 takes.
Okay.
I would say, yeah, the first take should always be sticking exactly to what they have said in the source material, or if they have like a reference, stick to the reference. And then the second one, yeah, if you have a different feeling for like, okay, they said this, but when I look at the character, I really have this gut feeling inside that it should sound like this. Maybe they just didn't think about it that way. And like, they'll hear it and they'll be like, oh, that's interesting. I didn't think about it, but I kind of like that better.
Right.
You know, like always, if you have a second thought, put that as your second take, for sure.
And just last question, I know you gotta go, just real quick. How long do you prep your characters?
Do I prep for an audition?
Yeah, for an audition. So you generally like, I'm at that early stage, so I'm obsessing over it. I'm reading the script 24/7.
No, yeah, it's really bad. I'm a really bad perfectionist.
Okay.
And so like, I've really been struggling with this, and I'm still struggling with it, where I used to be in the booth for like maybe 2 characters for like 5 hours. And it was really unhealthy, and it was really, really bad. And I would like be like, no, that take was no good, redo it. No, that take was no good, redo it. But I'm really trying to get to the point where I trust myself and I trust my reads. Because, you know, I think about it this way, like when I'm in the booth at the studio, how often do they really have me redo a take? Like when it's like, ooh, that was a little rough. Very rarely. And they're putting that stuff out for the public to hear. And so obviously it must be good enough.
Right.
Like if the directors are saying, yeah, that was a solid take, it must be good enough. So I really must be overthinking this a little bit too much, like, and being like, ooh, this word wasn't pitched just right. Like, and that's not acting.
Yeah.
That's like over processing and picking apart the script and being like robotic with it.
Yeah.
That's not acting naturally. That's not what you do when you're having a conversation with someone. You're not like, ooh, wait, let me get that again. That's not what you do when you're having a conversation with someone. You don't do that. You don't do that. And so it's just something that kind of comes with time. But it's also reminding yourself, hey, I know what I'm doing, and I know how to talk, and I know how to have a conversation, and I know how to do this. I know how to read this script, and I know how to interpret this character well. I know how. And acting is not like putting on a voice and like getting the cadences that you want.
Yeah.
It's about portraying a character and like just giving. It's not about giving a read. It's about conveying a scene, you know.
It took me a year to realize that.
Yeah.
It took me a whole, because I had a bit of imposter syndrome, because again, I came from music, and then Watch Mojo gave me the opportunity, and then once I hit about like 120 narrated videos, I was talking to the main lady from Watch Mojo, Rebecca, and she was like, yeah, you should really go for more of the acting. And then, but I was like, but narration ain't acting. And so it was kind of, I was trying to figure that out, and it was so much. So thank you for that.
You said you came from music?
Yes.
I feel like musicians do it even more. because we hear like the cadences and we hear like the notes and the tonality. And so we're like, ooh, that word would have been better if it was pitched higher than this one, and that would give it more feeling, more oomph. And so we're like, redo the take. And so I feel like we're even more notorious for it. I'm the same way. I'm a singer. And so I do the same exact thing. And it's so funny. Directors pick up on who are singers and who aren't because of the way that we read lines. And they're like, oh, you're a singer, aren't you? I can tell from your cadence of speaking. It's really interesting. I think like day one working for Joel, he was like, you're a singer, aren't you? And I was like, yeah. And he was like, I can tell. And I was like, how can you tell?
Fortunately, I got some good people in my corner who've been helping me. Deborah Wilson's been kind of like a mentor to me. And she voices so much stuff and everything. And then the co-creator of the Boondocks, Carl Jones, I work close with him. So it's just, I'm just trying to find my footing and everything. Just, been with this agent for about 8 months. So not booking anything. It's kind of, I'm like, okay, am I doing it wrong? Doing it right here, whatever. But
are you auditioning for commercial stuff as well? Or are you, okay. Yeah. I will be honest with you. I have never once booked one commercial gig. Ever in my life. And I've been doing this for over 10 years, but I book video games and I book anime stuff. And so it's just it's a whole different beast. It's just weird. So yeah, I wouldn't be disheartened if commercial stuff is not coming your way. That doesn't mean that other stuff won't. Some voices are just more suited to different things. Like, obviously, I am not suited to commercial work, or else something would have probably come my way by now. But I book very consistently with with animation and with video games, so it's fine. I'm able to support myself, and I'd love to book commercial work because that's where the money is, but
I'm still heavily optimistic because of my entry into it and just being in it. Because
you're fresh. You're like
I'm
green.
Super fresh, I take these moments that I get to ask people like you. I take it very, very. I hold it very close because I'm like that. It's something that I really, really want to do, and now that I'm like right here early and getting these opportunities, I did open casting calls for so long that the first shift for me was as soon as I got an agent, he's sending me Disney auditions and Hulu, and I said, oh, this is different. I was like, I'm used to doing this indie podcast, and everything. So now, when I start seeing those big names, now I'm in my head even more. I'm like, okay, well, I gotta show up. So just
I get that.
Get that comfort and everything. So I appreciate you just even sticking around.
For sure.
Thank you so much for
thank you.